Greetings and welcome to Growth Hacking Secrets. I'm your host, Mohammed Siddique from Atlanta, Georgia, and the co author of New Success Secrets available on Amazon. On this episode, we have a special guest, Kasim Aslam. Kasim is an e commerce Google advertising consultant, CEO at Sol8, and traffic coach at a digital marketer. Please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, Kasim Aslam. Kasim, welcome.
Siddique, thanks for having me. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who were you surrounded with that inspired you to do what you do today?
I was working for my dad. He owned a rug store, and I hated working for my dad as much as I love my father. And I wanted to be an actor, so I wanted something that I could do from anywhere on my own time. And I decided that I would get into digital stuff. That's more or less how I landed here today.
What are the top three mistakes to avoid?
um, Stopping 3 feet from gold, to steal a quote from Napoleon Hill. Far too often I see my clients not spending enough, giving it enough time, giving it enough attention to meet success. There are campaigns from an advertising perspective that could be successful if you gave it enough time, attention, or money. That's number one. Number two is chasing your competitors. Just because your competitor is doing something, even if it's successful, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. And then number three is diminishing the value of your people. I think we try to commoditize people in a way that's inappropriate, and I think that the companies that invest in their employees tend to be the most successful.
How do you invest more into your employees?
Well, companies are trying to fit employees into, everybody wants to be Henry Ford on an assembly line so you can have the most scalable model. And the problem with that is that's not what makes people passionate. And so I don't think you need to invest in employees just with money. You can throw a ton of money at somebody and they can still be very unhappy. That's obviously a big piece of it, and you should pay people a living wage. But you have to offer a job that's fulfilling. Help show them how it is that they're changing the world, that they're influencing people, that they're making things better. And you're going to find that people, I think, get really passionate about that.
Mhm. In your case, I know you shared with me in the pre interview. I cannot forget that. I quoted many places already. I want to hear it from you. How do you attract the best people to work for you in your company?
Well, we pay more than anybody else will pay in a lot of different contexts, but they can work from anywhere. They can work on their own time. They have complete management over their schedule. And I basically try to hire entrepreneurs. I want to hire people that, we call them intrapreneurs. They're entrepreneurs within the organization. And so far, I've just been blessed with the most amazing. I have 42 employees now, and each one of them is just phenomenal.
Mhm. What is your greatest failure story? What did you learn and how did you recover from it?
I have so many failure stories, so it's hard to pick the best one. But my whole business went under during the financial collapse in '08, '07, '08. Mine started early because I was building banking software. So before the economy collapsed for everybody else, it collapsed for me. And, I lost my house to foreclosure, my car to repossession. I ended up like truly penniless. And I moved into an apartment building that was giving away 3 months free if you signed a lease. And I had to borrow the $150 application. So that was rough. And the biggest lesson for me to learn was, as a young man, to learn the game of money. I was making more money than I was 20 years old when I started my business, and I was 22 when it went under. So I was making a significant amount, but I was spending even more, and I had the house on the hill and the idiot's car. And I learned very quickly that those aren't my things. Those are the bank's things, and they're going to come get them if you don't pay your bills. So I now am completely averse to debt. And I think entrepreneurs that don't figure out quickly how to utilize money in a way that's stress-free, I think they're going to have a tough time.
How did you recover from that?
One step at a time. I didn't declare bankruptcy, thank God, but I had to. My credit was destroyed. And the thing that I learned about creditors is if you tank your credit all the way to the bottom, I hired an attorney out of Tucson, Arizona to pretend to be my bankruptcy attorney. And I started answering the calls from the creditors. Anytime they'd call, I'd say, "Oh yeah, I'm so sorry, I'm declaring BK." And then instantly, if I had a 40 grand debt with you, they would be willing to negotiate it down to like $3,500 or something. And so I negotiated all the deals, but I didn't start paying right away because a friend of mine advised, he goes, negotiate all the deals first and pay at once. Because if they start to see these, delinquencies dropping off your report, then they'll start to get less receptive to negotiation. So, but it was all business debt. It was lines of credit, credit card. We had an SBA loan for a significant amount, and I was able to negotiate it all for pennies on the dollar. So, it took some time. It took years to recover, but I'm glad I did, and I'm glad I did it the way that I did it.
You were about to say something about your attorney.
We weren't really declaring bankruptcy, so it was just a smoke screen. I gave this guy, I forgot what it was. It was less than $500. I gave him $500 to pretend to be my bankruptcy attorney, so that anybody who called him, he'd say, "Oh yeah, I'm Kasim's bankruptcy attorney." And little touches like that, I think, help sell the story a little bit.
Okay, wonderful. What are your top 3 success secrets that others can model from?
I think the first one is applicable in most businesses, and it's to choose a niche. When I started my business, I was trying to be everything to everybody, and I made money doing it, but it's really stressful. And we didn't get wildly successful until we niched down into Google Ads. Choose a really specific niche, I think, is a piece of advice, number one. And then number two, you and I spoke about this prior to the recording, but it's to give first. In my book, I wrote about the principles of marketing, and the second most important principle, as far as I'm concerned, is giving. And I tell people to bookend their giving. You should give first, give last, and give more. And I think if you do that, you build advocates for life. And then number three, and we've already touched on this a little bit too, but it's people. For me specifically, marketing agency is nothing but processes and people. And good processes are pretty easy to build, so you better have good people. And if you can go, as a young entrepreneur, I kept trying to get the people that were the cheapest. Now I go get the people that are the best. And I think that's why our agency is the best in the world.
What is your company's motto?
I don't know that we have one. I have an email automated that goes out every morning that says we're building the best and most successful Google Ads agency on the planet. So it's not a motto as much as it is a mantra. We have 3 values listed on our website: truth, responsibility, and heart. But heart to me really means love. I just say heart because some people get turned off by the word love. So between those 2 things, I think there's a motto there.
Who is your ideal client?
Anybody running Google Ads. Well, I'll qualify that. Anybody running Google Ads that's spending enough to justify my existence. So if they're spending $2, $3, $4, $5 grand a month or more, we can probably help them. If they're spending less, then they can come check out our YouTube channel. I shoot a video every day. We sell some education, and we can help them that way.
How do you find your ideal client?
All Google Ads. I eat my own dog food. We're pretty good at that. So most of our clients either come in through Google Ads or by referral, or they heard me speak or whatever. But it's either Google Ads or it's organic.
How do you engage your ideal client?
We do what I call a viability study. So if you come in and you say, Kasim, I want to run Google Ads, what I say is let's make sure that there's a reasonable expectation for success. Because there's like, I won't take a residential realtor, for instance. There's no way to compete in that ecosystem. You've got Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, Open Door. They're spending more money than the click is worth. And if you're a residential realtor and you've got your $1,000 a month, like, you will get crushed. So if we can't just take anybody off the street, because they won't last, and we're not profitable in the short term. I need a client to be around for a really long time. So we do a viability study first, look at the numbers, look at their profitability, look at their close ratio, and decide, can you be successful in this ecosystem? And if you can, then we'll run a test.
What are your well-defined products or services?
Well, Google Ads is easy to define. We're either doing lead generation, meaning, you're an attorney or a doctor or whatever, and we're helping the phone ring. Or scheduling, or whatever, or we do e-commerce, which is selling physical products, selling digital products, software as a service. E-com is probably where I'm most known, and I think that's because it's the easiest place to build really amazing case studies, because I can show how profitable a client is because purchases are happening right there on the site. My highest value case study to date, we have a client who spends pretty consistently, but the most recent data was $12,600 in a month and made $2 million. So he spent 12 grand, he made $2 million. I don't know many people that are doing that, and we're able to do that inside of Google Smart Shopping.
Why someone should buy from you?
I don't know that they necessarily should. It depends on whether or not we're the right fit. I feel like we're the best agency in the world. I believe that very confidently. And there's some really smart people that say the same thing about us. But that said, I'm expensive. So if you're a small business, don't hire me. You probably got a nephew somewhere that can do 80% of what I do at 20% of the cost. So I'd be real careful about getting romantic about how it is that you advertise or make your money. I think we're a really good fit for the people that can afford us. For those that can't, don't worry. There's still other good people out there that can do really good work.
How do you crush your competition?
Honestly, I don't worry about the competition at all. I focus on, I teach my kids, we have what we call the rules of life, and they have to go through and repeat this collection of rules every day. And one of them is, who are you better than? And the answer is me yesterday. And it says, who's better than you? And the answer is me tomorrow. So the competition can do what the competition wants to do. I want to be better than me yesterday. And I want to know that I'm going to be better tomorrow. And if we can keep doing that, I feel like we'll continue to be the best.
How do you deliver a 5-star client experience?
People. I've got phenomenal people and phenomenal processes. So, when somebody comes in as a new client, a lot of agencies send them just this form to fill out. You get a Google Doc or whatever, and you have to answer all the questions. I have a dedicated onboarding manager. So you actually have a real live human that you can call and you can talk to. And then afterwards, a lot of agencies connect them with the person who's doing the work. We actually have a dedicated client manager who we internally, we don't say this to the client, but we call them the client success advocate because they're advocating on behalf of the client in between the client and the specialist. So I like to put people on things because everybody wants to automate and they all want to scale. And, we're all looking for the Tim Ferriss on the beach 4-hour work week lifestyle. I don't buy it. I think that people do business with people. People fall in love with people. People like working with people. And if I can put really phenomenal people in front of you, I think you're going to stick around.
How do you use your sales proposals to close more deals?
We don't do proposals at all. Somebody comes in, we do the viability study. Sometimes we'll do an evaluation, and then we basically say, here's what we think, here are the risks. And, if you're willing to try this, we're willing to try this. And then we'll send a DocuSign, but we don't have anything. I'm very bad at the ivory tower agency stuff. I feel like a lot of it is it's just fluff. It's all made up. So, I'd rather dispel with the myth and get down to, the truth of the matter, which is our first value. So we kind of done away with the proposal process. And honestly, I think clients prefer that because they know, generally speaking, when you're looking at a proposal, if somebody's put together an 18-page proposal, half of it is about the agency. It's just a sales piece. And then the rest of it is genericized. How could that possibly be about your business? They don't know anything about you yet.
How do you convert your clients into a brand ambassadors?
If somebody's treated really well, they're going to tell other people about it. And we've been really, really lucky and blessed from that perspective. I've got a client who's it's the most respected e-commerce forum and mastermind on the planet. And he keeps telling people about the results we're giving him. And so other people find us. I think if you do really good work, people are going to find out. There's a saying, I think I heard this from my uncle. I don't know how to properly cite it, but it's work flows to the competent. And so I think if you do really good work, people are going to ask, even if your client isn't necessarily a brand ambassador, people are going to say, hey, who did this for you? How are you making this happen? And I know we do have some clients that keep us under the skirt and don't want to tell anybody about us, and that's okay too. But if you do really good work for someone, if you love them, and there's a quote by Khalil Gibran, who's a poet that I love. He says that work is love made visible. And so if you work for them so hard that you are making love visible, then you're going to find yourself in a position where they're referring you work.
We are about to move into lightning round. That means quick question and quick answer. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
What are you grateful for today?
My kids.
How do you start your day?
I wake up at 4 a.m. and I go straight to the gym.
How young are you?
36.
You are not 36. You are 18 years old. That's a lot of experience.
I appreciate that. That's funny.
What do you want to do when you grow up?
I would like to be the world's foremost authority on habits.
What is your plan to achieve your goal?
Right now, I'm my own guinea pig, and I'm just learning how to cultivate habits.
How will you feel in case you don't achieve your goal?
I don't think that's going to happen.
How do you overcome a challenge life throws at you?
One piece at a time. It's the Aristotle quote, uh, excellence is a habit, and you just take it one day at a time.
What is the advice you will give to younger yourself?
Oh, time is the most precious resource. Don't squander it.
Once you have a revenue generating idea, how do you convince your significant other?
I don't. I let her talk me out of it. And if she can't, then it's probably a pretty good idea.
Why being impactful is important to you?
Because it's all that matters. There's a quote by Jordan Peterson. He says, "Don't pursue happiness, pursue meaning."
Who is your living mentor and what's the impact?
His name is Greg Smith. He's a investment banker, and he's changed my life. And he's what I would consider to be the paragon of excellence as far as what a man should be and the type of person that I choose to attempt to emulate.
I would like to interview your mentor. Is it possible?
I could ask him, but I don't know how receptive he'd be. I don't want to say he's shy, but we'll see if we can work that out, Siddique.
Okay, I appreciate that. What do you want to be remembered for?
I'd like to be remembered through the actions of my children, because it means that I've passed down something that could potentially live forever.
I understand that you are author of a book. Can I see your book? Why someone should read it and what's the benefit?
There's my book. And honestly, I think if you're not an agency owner, you only need to read the first half of it. It explains the principles of digital marketing. So if you're a business owner, there's a lot here that you could potentially dig into. That was a long answer. I'm sorry.
Okay, how can we support you?
Well, if anybody needs Google Ads help, send them my way.
We are about to wrap up. I'd like to have a few words about your today's guest experience on the show. Here is my question. What would you say about your today's guest experience on the show?
This is one of the most organized podcasts I've ever been on. So kudos and props to you.
What would you say as a final word?
Don't give up. If you're watching this, you're an entrepreneur and a business owner, and there's going to be some, dark times and hungry times, and you just have to keep going.
Thank you so much, Kasim, for sharing your wisdom with us today. On the behalf of Growth Hacking Secrets community and our entire team, we really appreciate you. This is Mohammed Siddique signing off from Atlanta, Georgia. Until the next episode, all good wishes.
Thank you, sir.